And this is one of the most anticipated finals on the track. It is the men's 5000 T54 because of two names, Marcel Hug of Switzerland and David Weir of Great Britain. But it is a very complete field, and keep an eye on the very strong athlete from Poland, Thomas Hammerlack. As we go through the field, and this is Alain Fous of France, season's best of 10:24.18. Very diverse, very talented. The man to beat, David Weir of Great Britain.
David Weir's currently ranked number 2 in the world this year after Marcel Hug, so we are definitely in for a fantastic race.
And this is Josh Cassidy of Canada. He's got a season's best of 9:55.13. The silver helmet's just qualified for the 400 metres. He is the complete athlete. This is Marcel Hug.
Marcel's ranked number 1. It'll be interesting to see how he goes after having completed the 400 metres.
The athlete from Spain, Vertigur. Wahoram of Thailand, a very impressive competitor and one athlete we do need to keep an eye on.
Wahoram, you'll notice he's got a beautiful fluid style.
And Sojima of Japan.
Japanese in this race are very dark horses and certainly ones to keep an eye out for.
This is the athlete from France, Julien Cassoli, again a good competitor. He's demonstrated that at this championship so far. As we have a look at the athlete from Poland, Thomas Hammerlack, an athlete who likes to go to the front early and set the pace, set the tempo. And this is Hokunoi of Japan, and he has got a season's best of 9:55.04.
Currently ranked number 5 in the world, and believe me, 9:55 is an extremely sharp time for this event.
So 12.5 laps of the track. The rivalry, though, is the man in lane 2 at the moment from Great Britain, David Weir, and Marcel Hug in the silver helmet in 4.
Watch for a fast start.
And they do get away, and they'll want to make sure. And look, interesting to see Hug immediately this time saying, look, you know what, I'm not going to buy into going to the front, which historically he has done in the heat. He wants David Weir of Great Britain to take up a little bit more of the chase. He wants to be the athlete that plays the cat and mouse game. Fascinating as we see the athlete from France, Julien Cassoli, decide to go to the front and take up the lead.
Very easy start here, very easy pace. No one's wanting to do the work.
And any time that you see these chairs spread 3 wide on the track generally means the pace is off. When you see the one big long line, then you know the pace is starting to build.
Each extra lane you go out on the track, you're doing 4 extra metres per lap.
As we have a look at this field, it is number 3, and this is the Canadian Josh Cassidy, 9:55.13, so very good athlete. But really still the fact that they are 2 wide on the track says that they are playing a little bit of cat and mouse. Nice little adjustment there.
There's
from
Josh
the athlete.
Cassidy making a break, decided it's too slow. He's starting to pick it up, and you can see the line going back to single file again.
And immediately it is the athlete number 7, and that is the Japanese Sojima, who says, I'm going to bridge that gap, because if I can just get in behind that chair, I'm going to save myself an awful lot of energy through the drag coefficient, anywhere up to 30% if you're sitting further back in that bunch.
You can see at the back Weir and Hug happy to sit on the back, let the others cover the break and save their energy. But Weir keeping his wheel wide, ready to stay out of trouble.
And Wahoram of Thailand, currently just tucked in. You might just see the blue arms and the high elbows of him. He is an impressive athlete out of Thailand. And again, it's all about looking at those high elbows, keeping that head position down. And I would imagine that's not as easy said than done, staying in that tuck position, particularly when the heart rate goes through the roof.
Yes, it's these guys are all seasoned professionals, they're all seasoned athletes, and it's very important that you maintain your form, you don't panic, because as soon as you start doing that, your form goes out the window, your speed drops.
Masumi Soejima, yep, so aerodynamics, anytime you go over 20 kilometres an hour, those aerodynamics do begin to kick in. And again, we can just sense that pace is still back on because we are in that long line. In cycling terms, particularly in the later part, we affectionately call it the pain train. And I think that's probably apt even at this level in this particular sport.
Certainly, these guys are all very aerobically fit. They're used to this sort of thing, but what does stretch them out is the constant surges, the constant attacks. and having to cover those. You'll notice Weir and Hug at the back. They'll be isolated from those surges a little bit. The peloton will certainly absorb some of those for them, and they won't have to do those big attacks and those big covers for the attacks.
Got to be careful, though, that it doesn't fragment. Both those athletes, though, certainly have the speed and the strength to, if they need to explode, to bridge that gap, get those heart rates up for a little bit. But so many of these athletes, they're used to training at more of a steady state, more of a high aerobic type pace, and sometimes the constant change in speed can burn a number of these athletes.
Weir and Hug at the back also have to be very careful. There are crashes that happen on the track when the peloton's this close, so they have to be aware to stay out of trouble and be ready to react if they have to.
Surprised, though, that this athlete here from Japan, Sojima, prepared to do so much work early, and at some point he might just move slightly wide on the track and ask the competitor behind. I think it's his fellow countryman, and that is Hokunoi, to maybe come through and do a little bit of work. And I'm not sure, though, in this event, are we likely to see any team tactics?
That's just what I've been thinking. Maybe Sojima is working for Hokunoi here and dragging him through, keeping at the front of the pack, keeping out of trouble. There's still 8 laps to go, though, so there's a lot of this race left.
Well, we are coming up to 4 minutes, almost halfway through this men's 5,000 metre final, but the action is heating up in the shot put.
World record.
Great to see two world records going in the shot put, but now it is starting to heat up here in this men's 5,000 metres. As they come down, they'll have 6 laps to go. It is the Canadian Josh Cassidy who has just said, sorry, not happy with this pace. I'm going to try and just break it up a little bit. Immediately we see David Weir of Great Britain and Marcel Hug of Switzerland, as well as Cassidy of France, try and bridge that gap. First time we've seen this bunch fractured and splintered.
That was a very brave attempt by Cassidy. It was very early on in the race to be making a move such as that, and you see that the group has picked him up already.
Yeah, it is very much just slowed back down again, become pedestrian, but that number of attacks will hurt these athletes. You're going to have your concentration on, and it reminds me very much of what happened.
Here comes another attack up the outside. Alain Fous from France, giving it another dig. I'm happy to see the race slow down. He wants to keep the pace on.
I mentioned the great distance athlete yesterday from 1956, the great Vladimir Kutz, won a number of medals by continually surging and forcing the athletes to chase. And then when they chased and got back on, he attacked again. But you've got to have incredible strength to do that. I like the way Marcel Hug at the moment is more than happy to hang this Frenchman out in the front and just monitor Weir.
With 5 laps to go, Hug has to be careful he doesn't get boxed in the pack and have his way blocked to get around Weir.
So this is Alain Fous of France, who has decided to go clear, and he's going to be doing a lot of work, expending a lot of energy out in front, because that wind, as they come into this home straight, will be behind them. But then on the second half of the track, they face the wind. And this sport here, if you've got allergies to anything, it is the wind, particularly early on in the 5,000 metres.
The pack are not concerned about Alain Fous having made the break. He's not getting any further away, so eventually the pack will pull him in and spit him out the back.
And the pack just needs to make sure they maintain a steady pace. It's very hard to get too far up the track in that situation. Not dissimilar to what you see in road cycling. There's a lot of tactics in this. It's also understanding your competition, knowing what these athletes are capable of. 7 minutes and 38 seconds. When they come around, they will have 3 laps to go. Then we are in for one of the great races, but it is the Canadian once again, Josh Cassidy, who has come back into second place, deciding maybe just to close this gap.
He's dragging the pack up. He's expending energy. He's got to be careful that he leaves some for the sprint at the end.
So Hug and Weir looking at each other. Got to be careful, though, because there's some very good athletes. Warahim of Thailand in lane, wearing the number 6 on his helmet, is an experienced and classy act, and he's in a good position at the moment, just sitting there on the outside. Again, being blocked by the wind for the fact it is coming from his left shoulder across him, and therefore it's the athletes on the inside of the track at the moment who are facing that.
You can see Warahim, Weir, Hug out in lane 3. They're happy to do the extra distance. Hug sitting up, taking a breather.
I think it is the second Frenchman, Julian Cassidy, though, who has decided that he wants to go to the front, and you're just waiting like a track sprint in cycling. Now some more urgency starts to creep in. Let's see who it is that takes it up. I think it's another one of the Japanese competitors, and it is Sojima once again of Japan, wearing number 7 on his helmet. But they are lined up, they are poised. When they come down, they will have 2 laps to go, 800 metres to travel when they come down through the start-finish line, and still we have not seen the cards being played from some of the big names, Marcel Hoog and Weir of Great Britain.
So Gema dropped to the back, having done a lot of work on the front. The French taking it out hard, starting to pick it up now. Wahoram got them covered with Weir and Hoog in behind.
Yeah, Wahoram in the dark blue there with the moustache, and behind him is Weir of Great Britain, and then the silver helmet, the very familiar and scary helmet of Marcel Hoog. And now 600 metres to go. What will we see here? They don't want to leave it for too long, but you do just sense that Marcel Hoog is strategically best placed at the moment. He's sitting in about 4th, 2 wide. And there he is, that is the man, and look at that aero tuck position of him, maximising the recovery down the home straight. The bell laps will ring, the crowd here at QE2 Stadium on their feet. One of the great showdowns begins to unfold here. Who will it be? Will it be Weir of Great Britain? Will it be Hoog? Or will it be one of the Frenchmen, possibly Julian Cassidy or Warahim of Thailand?
Here's Weir making his move now, Hoog comfortably in behind. Dropped Wahoram, who's boxed in behind the Frenchman.
And this
Head
is
down and they're away.
This is strategically, we haven't seen this from Hoog before. He's a guy who generally likes to go to the front, but Julian Cassidy of France, a very good bend, looking to get those arms driving, trying to keep those elbows nice and high. Look for the form as they come in. It is Weir of Britain. Does Hoog have anything as they come down with just 50 metres to go? It is the Britishman, it is the Englishman, it is Weir. Too strong for Marcel Hoog. Wonderful performance from David Weir, the king of the track. It will be Hoog who picks up 2nd place, and in 3rd place the Frenchman Julian Cassidy.
David Weir, the man who came here just wanting to win 1 gold, has won his 3rd.